The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The hotel industry is once again reeling from the economic impact of Taal's unrest, more than a year since it erupted since 2019. JC Cosico has the story.
This private resort in Barangay Kiling in Talisay, Batangas near the Taal Lake has no guests nor personnel. Its gates locked.
Tao po. Tao po.
All of its staff have already evacuated in anticipation of Taal's eruption.
For protection na rin po ng tao kasi hindi po natin talaga mapipredict yung lagay ng bulkan. Maaring surprise, maaring may abiso galing sa P-box, pero siguro mas maganda na rin po yung handa.
The resort canceled all its bookings for the month of July as a result of its temporary closure.
Sabi ko naman po sa kanila, if ever mag-okay at bumaba yung level ng bulkan, maybe matuloy sila. Pero sabi ko, aabisuhan ko na rin po sila.
It was only in May this year when the hotel reopened to tourists following the volcano's eruption and the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. No one can tell when they'll be able to bounce back from their losses.
Sa ngayon, hindi ko po masabi kasi nakikiramdam din po kami.
Ma'am, so paano po yung mga staff niyo, ma'am?
Wala po. Hindi po pumapasok.
This resort in Barangay Banga, however, remains open but is still not frequented by guests. But its manager said around 10 bookings for this week have also been canceled by vacationers.
Sabi nila, hindi naman na kami tutuloy dahil syempre kahit sino naman, syempre ng mga taga rito nga umaalis naman pupunta dito, gano'n. Iyon, natatakot din sila.
Tourism activities like boat rides have also been suspended since last year.
Paano malaking kabawasan, ma'am? Talaga?
Wala nang nagpunta sa island.
Okay.
Gano'n. Siyempre, kabawasan din yung sakita namin.
There are around 30 resorts in Talisay, Batangas, but only around 5 were allowed to operate under the current quarantine guidelines.
Kailangan namin sumunod ang dato ng P-box dahil ito ay para sa kaligtasan ng lahat. Sa boating kasi, hindi natin ma-predict kung kailan talaga siya sasabog. Then, ang pinangambahan din namin is yung pagtataas ng sulfur dioxide.
The LGU said evacuation plans are in place should Taal's unrest intensify, even though they are not yet gravely affected. To date, the volcano remains under alert level 3.
Wala pa naman kaming paghihigpit dahil ang apektado naman ay yung talagang dalawang bayan na nakapaligid dito sa Taal Volcano. So far, naapektuhan din naman kami. Pero yung hindi ganong kalala yung sulfur dioxide na dumaan dito sa bayan ng Talisay.
Local officials are calling on residents to remain alert amid Taal's unrest. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
Let's get the latest information on Taal volcano activity. Joining us this morning is Mr. Mark Timbal. He is a spokesperson of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Sir Mark, good morning.
Ms. Risa, good morning, and to our countrymen, good morning as well.
Sir, can you give us the current situation now at the Taal volcano?
So far, there has been some smoking monitored in the crater, but in terms of operations, there's still ongoing evacuation activities in the high-risk areas identified by CBOX, and some local government units have conducted voluntary evacuation activities as well. From last night's update, we received that there had been more than almost 800 families that had evacuated. This is equivalent to more than 3,000 individuals that had evacuated those high-risk barangays and are now staying in 11 or 13 evacuation centers across Batangas and some places in Cavite. The national government, through the Department of Social Welfare and Development, had successfully transferred more than 5,000 family food packs as well as additional family tents that will be used by our evacuees. The intention there is to have a one tent, one family, one room, one family arrangement to observe the physical distancing requirements. The DSWD also delivered face masks. These were created by the Department of Science and Technology. These washable face masks were also delivered to Batangas. The Department of Health has also prepositioned additional face masks, N95 masks, medical equipment, and supplies in Batangas City to be able to support the ongoing response operations for those who are affected by the Taal volcano eruption.
So Mark, first, Pag-asa spotted 2 low-pressure areas that's affecting the country right now. Given the rainy weather, is this affecting the volcanic activities and also the nearby areas? Should this be a concern?
Yeah, I can only speak about the operations. We have factored in the possible effects of inclement weather in our operations. In a meeting at the NDRMC last Friday, Pag-asa reported this low-pressure area, and we have upped the distribution as well as the delivery activities so that there will be no interruption in the servicing or the provision of supplies to our affected evacuees. Yes.
And Sir Mark, as you mentioned, regarding the volcanic smog or the so-called VOG, what we're doing about it is distributing more face masks. Is that correct?
The distribution of the face mask is primarily for the purpose of ensuring that there will be protection against COVID-19. If I'm not mistaken, our scientists from FIVOX mentioned that the sulfur dioxide emission is only they are up in the sky and does not directly affect the population. But if these emissions are mixed with rain and fall back to the ground as rainwater, anyone exposed may experience some irritation. So one of the advisories that we're providing to the public is that during these times, please make sure that they bring their umbrellas or avoid getting exposed to rain, so as to make sure that they avoid these kinds of possible irritations, skin irritations, or at least any sickness related to rainy weather.
Sir Mark, given the number of evacuees so far that has increased already since, of course, the past few days, how do we make sure that the health protocols are being observed in the evacuation centers?
Yes, we in our monitoring of the report, especially from your media organization, there were some evacuation centers that have encountered difficulties in maintaining the minimum health standards. So the NDRMC enjoined the Department of Interior and Local Government and the Philippine National Police to support the management of the evacuation centers and insist and maintain the strict observance of the minimum health protocols. So we're making sure that the masks are available, that people are given the face masks, and that the situation there, when it comes to their accommodation in the evacuation center, will ensure the observance of the physical distancing requirements.
Sir, how about for donations? Is it needed at this point?
So far, our supplies at the national level and at the regional level are still enough, more than enough, actually, to support our evacuated populations. But as I was informed this morning, the Batangas provincial government had opened its donations hub in Batangas City to make sure that any donation activities for our affected residents will be properly organized. And they have announced the details of this donations hub in Batangas City.
One final question, sir. Do you have an update about the vaccines that was supposedly to be distributed among the evacuees, but it was postponed due to, of course, some situations that can't be controlled? Do we have an update on perhaps the adjustment?
So far, I'm not aware of any postponement, but the vaccination rollout for our evacuated population is being prepared as of this point. If I'm not mistaken, vaccines have been gathered from various quarters through the assistance of the department, through the leadership of the Department of Health. And the evacuees are, a master list of the evacuees is being prepared in consideration of number one, who had been evacuated already, the ones with comorbidities, etc. The intention is still to follow the prioritization list for the vaccination program. So if I'm not mistaken, this is supposed to roll out, I guess, next week, once everything is in place.
Thank you very much for those updates, and we appreciate the time that you spent with us. That's Mr. Mark Timbal and DRRMC spokesperson. Meanwhile, the Octa Research Group identifies 4 areas of concern which have reported a 30% infection growth rate. Octa Research Fellow Guido David said these are the cities of Davao, Bacolod, Iloilo, San Fernando, and La Union. Meanwhile, David reported a 5% increase cases in the metro, but said that this is not too worrisome.
We did identify 4 regions which we saw had an increase, but some of them, day to day they change. So we noticed that there was an improvement in some of them, but we're still seeing a significant increase in what we mean by that is at least 30% growth rate every week.
David also said that there is no evidence yet that the Delta variant is the main driver of COVID-19 surges.
No, we cannot say that the Delta variant is responsible at this time. We don't have biosurveillance evidence that the Delta variant is spreading in the country. And also, based on the trends, we're not seeing a very fast increase that would be, say, characteristic of the Delta variant when we compare it to other countries.
And we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News.
Did you know that the Philippines' first Olympic silver medal was in the 1964 Tokyo Games? The Philippines first participated at the Olympics in 1924 in Paris. We won our first medal, a bronze, at the 1928 Games in Amsterdam, courtesy of swimmer Teofilo Ildefonso. 3 more Filipinos will win bronze medals before a countryman of ours would take home a silver. Anthony Villanueva, son of 1932 Olympics bronze medalist Jose Celi Villanueva, did the honors of giving the Philippines its first runner-up finish at the Quadrennial Games. Boy Villanueva beat tournament favorite Charlie Brown of the U.S. 4-1 to advance in the featherweight final. In the gold medal match, Villanueva went toe-to-toe with Stanislav Stepashkin of the Soviet Union, but lost in a heart-rending 3-2 count. The controversial loss meant that Villanueva was to go home with the silver. An impressive feat nonetheless that no Filipino athlete will duplicate until 32 years later.
See us stronger. Catch the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 from July 23 to August 8, 2021 here on Signal, official broadcaster of Tokyo 2020.
Signal TV and the TV5, along with Smart and PLDT, are the official broadcasters of the Olympic Games in Tokyo 2020. Get ready to witness the world back in action and watch the Olympic Games from July 23 to August 8, 2021 on TV5, One Sports, One Sports Plus, Signal Play, PLDT, and Smart. And of course, you're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Tokyo Olympics organizers have yet to decide if spectators will be allowed inside the arenas a few weeks before the games are set to start. Let's watch this.
5者協議を開かせていただきたいというふうに思っております。そこで、政府の示す基準に、沿って決定をしていくということですので、今のこの日々刻々と変わるこの感染状況の中で、まだどのようになっていくかということは分かりませんけれども、組織委員会としては無観客も覚悟しながらどのように示されても対応ができるようにしていきたいと思っています。何があっても無観客ではなく有観客にしたいということではありませんで、やはり政府が示す基準にのっとってより安心安全でなければ有観客にでもそれは認められる、理解をされる大会ということにはならないというふうに思いますので、そういった安全が確保されるまで準備に努めていきたいというふうに思っています。
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.